Please subscribe my channel. I remember the night like it was yesterday, though it's been years since the words left her lips. We had just finished dinner, the kind where the silence stretches long enough to make you question if it's peaceful or poisonous. I didn't argue, didn't raise my voice, didn't even glance at her. She had said it, those words that no husband wants to hear. Sometimes I think I should have married my ex. They hit me like a cold, hard wind, though outwardly I showed nothing. I had learned early that reactions can become weapons. If you respond with heat, you fuel the fire. So I simply pushed my chair back, stood up, and walked away. I didn't say a word, and for her, that silence would speak louder than any scream I could have thrown at her. We'd been together for over a decade, married for 7 of those years. In the beginning, everything felt effortless, like a river flowing smooth and strong. We laughed at the same jokes, shared late-night talks, and found joy in the smallest routines. But somewhere along the way I had stopped noticing the cracks forming under the surface. I had assumed comfort was love, that the ease of life together meant loyalty. I was wrong. That night, walking to the front door, I felt a strange mixture of calm and clarity. There was no drama in my step, only certainty. I could hear her behind me, the hesitation in her voice when she asked where I was going. I didn't answer. I knew that whatever came next, it wouldn't be my words that would teach her the lesson. My absence would. We had argued before, small things that spiraled into bigger fights, but none of that prepared me for this. Saying you should have married someone else is not a passing frustration. It is a declaration. It is the unmasking of desire and regret, laid bare without pretense. Most people would yell, cry, beg. But I had learned a long time ago that power is often quiet, measured, and deliberate. I remember stepping outside, the night air sharp against my skin. My car sat in the driveway, and for the first time in years I felt a sense of freedom. Not the kind that comes from leaving a relationship in anger, but the kind that comes from finally acknowledging the truth. I had been living in the shadow of a woman who was no longer invested in me, whose mind wandered to past choices instead of the present we shared. And now she had confirmed it, openly and without hesitation. Inside she paced. I could hear her footsteps through the wooden floorboards, a rhythm of panic and disbelief. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Her realization was brewing, and that was enough. When people realize they've taken something for granted, words often fail them. It's not the explanation they need, it's the mirror they hadn't been willing to look into before. I drove without destination. The roads were empty, the headlights slicing through darkness. With every mile, a weight lifted off my shoulders. I thought of every small sacrifice I had made, every compromise, every quiet moment of patience, and suddenly it all aligned. I hadn't failed, I had merely been too generous with my trust. Love isn't measured by tolerance, it's measured by recognition. And she had stopped recognizing me long before she ever uttered those words. By the time I returned hours later, she was in the living room, the light from the lamp casting shadows on her face. She looked different, less composed, more raw. It hit her then, I realized. The absence of confrontation, the absence of pleading, the absence of any reaction was a language she understood only too late. She had expected emotion, argument, perhaps guilt. She got none of it. She got me walking away calmly, leaving the space for her own conscience to speak. Her eyes met mine for the first time since I'd returned. There was fear there, but also something heavier, regret. The words she had flung like daggers were now sinking into her own chest. I could see it in the slight tremble of her hands, the falter in her voice when she tried to say something, anything, to undo what had already been set into motion. But there is no undoing when clarity arrives. And that is the truth most people never understand. Sometimes walking away speaks louder than staying and arguing. Sometimes the lesson doesn't land until the person who was careless finally confronts the vacuum they've created. Silence, deliberate and unwavering, has a weight that few expect. But when it lands, it is undeniable. I sat there in the quiet, letting her realize what she had jeopardized. I didn't speak, I didn't move. I let her imagine the life I could have chosen, the conversations we would never have, the touch and laughter she had taken for granted. By the time she broke into tears, it was too late. The impact of her words was mirrored back at her, and she was forced to face the consequences of her own longing for something she no longer had.